to just carry one step further. That was the sweeps really create a lot of concerns in our community, especially as we indicated that many children were left unattended. They were husband, wife, and so on and so forth. What about the possibility? And then we don't have to go into any deliberation here. But what about the possibility of the immigration department essentially telling you, here are the folks that we're after, and there's 3 warrants. What if your department, or the Sinai PD, or the Anaheim PD, actually would go looking for these individuals without the immigration unit? And I tell you why, because there were several people, and we have some data, there were several people that if you did not find Alfredo Mesco in the apartment where he lives, and you walking out of the apartment complex, a worker just came out of work, 7 o'clock in the morning, walking upstairs, and they said, oh, by the way, what is your name, sir? Francisco Garcia. Do you have any papers? We know that of individuals who actually were arrested, detained by the INS, and we think that's default. Okay, because you were after Alfredo Mesco, you were not after me or anybody else. So give us some thought about the possibility of the local enforcement agency essentially exercising and executing those warrants without the involvement of the INS. You still get the same result, but you don't bring the panic on to our community in relationship to immigration sweeps. Okay? Any other questions?
Yeah, what happens is we see the tsunami wave of enforcement with regard to undocumented coming, especially now that we don't see immigration reform coming anywhere in the near future, the next 4 years probably. So we have, everything is being pushed on the locals. Locals. We see things like the sheriff in Florida who brings 3 squad cars into a construction site, lights and sirens, and on the backside of the project when people run out, that's who they stop and they check for immigration status. It gets worse. As a result, we're trying to create, and we are creating, a tsunami wave back. And somewhere we've got to meet. We know families that are in trouble. We know and our neighbors and our communities that are getting impacted by this. So we're starting now to form forces, join arms. How can we best protect them? How can we take care of their interests? That kind of thing. And somewhere in there, we need to keep the front lines talking to each other. You're very important to our community as well. But what we see in the Costa Mesa type things, we didn't like what the grand jury did in their report. We thought that was a license that, and we'll try to do something about that. But you're our leader in this particular local law enforcement. You and Chief Walters, our Anaheim chief, and that kind of thing, to keep you guys together and talking about the community effectiveness is very important.
What kind of assistance are you asking of the sheriff?
One, I think to expand beyond what we're doing now. Just we need to have a better dialogue on this to keep it going, and we really need to sense your leadership on this particular issue as well. You're going to get political pressure to do things that we don't want you to do, and you've got to stand tall and strong.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of many fights, as you can probably tell.
Okay, another question, Jess.
Yeah, just 2 seconds real quickly. Just to cut right to the chase, Mike's always been very fair, and that's why I've always supported Mike. But what Alan brought up about the sheriff and what's going on in Florida, if we get back down to the basis of how we make our rules, you know, from day one, the concept was fairness. And I think that's what you're alluding to, what you do, why you didn't do what Costa Mesa does, because you understand fairness. But we think that you got to give up the political pressure sometimes and even go against your own people, which you have done occasionally, and I credit you for that. And realize that it's all based on what we lawyers call probable cause. If you're going to go detain somebody, stop somebody, search somebody, arrest somebody, it has to start with reasonable probable cause. It's only fair if you have a reason to do that. And it's not fair, as Alan said, to go out and put the sirens on and see who runs out. You have manufactured probable cause now. You've made someone run. You have to have that before you stop somebody. And I think that's why how you explained it makes sense for you. You know, you go after somebody who has a warrant, and then if they happen to not be documented, you get them. Well, what we don't like to see is what did happen in Costa Mesa. The guy on a bike, and somehow it gets an arrest as a deportation, or the guys that they flush out. And once we start deviating from that basic fairness, you got to have a reason to stop somebody. That's when we react.
And I think it's a good point, Sheriff, is that we're looking for fairness and also making sure that you got to keep in mind, and again, with all due respect to all those that are here, every resident of our community makes a significant contribution to this county, and they need to be also protected. So use that term is not